Before we begin today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to thank Vincent Smith for giving me the idea to start these scary stories. The following stories are based on true events according to their authors. My mom was having dinner at a friend's house. It was a small old cottage that's been around for over 100 years. She tries to find the bathroom and pulls on a door that is locked. The friend sees and says, "Sorry, that goes to the basement. The bathroom is over there." Thinking it is odd, my mom asks why the basement door is locked. It's always locked. In fact, I don't even have a key for it. The real estate agent advised me not to go down there as it's not been upgraded like the rest of the cottage. It's little more than a root cellar. Fast forward a few weeks when my mother, who works for the police department's community division, is working on a project about the history of the police department in the town. An old man comes in with news clippings about various community events, as well as a news clipping from the 50s about a gruesome murder. My mom was a bit taken aback. "Sorry, I forgot those clippings were in here too." "No, I know this address, it's my friend's house." "What happened there?" "Oh," said the old man. "Well, that used to be my mother's house. She had been dating this man who was cruel to her, beat her horribly. She tried again and again to break it off with him, but he'd always come back. Finally, my aunt moved in with us, and my mom finally broke up with him. He starts getting emotional. Then one night, he broke in and tied my mother, aunt, sister, and brother up in the basement. He shot them all in front of my mom. Then, he shot her and killed himself, leaving a note that she would never leave him again. I was away at college. Then the old man started to sob. And that is how my mother's friend learned she has a haunted quadruple murder-suicide scene in her basement. She eventually moved out a year later. While I was in university, I loved finding snakes. I was a biology student, so a friend from her pathology club showed me this road that he would cruise for snakes. Cruising is when you drive slowly down old back roads after dark looking for snakes that have slithered onto the warmer road to heat up. The road we took was about 4 miles and had around 4 houses on its entirety. We had taken a few laps on this road and we were making our final pass. There are 2 houses near the beginning of the road, one at the end and one near the middle. We were getting close to the center house when we see movement on the left side of the road. There are lots of animals, obviously, on this road, so we aren't surprised to see this. However, what shoots out is this kid, probably around 8 or maybe 9, in torn blue jeans and a ripped dark t-shirt. He takes one look at us and his face is a mix of fear and pain. He looked back really quickly from where he had come out of, then booked it across the road. The guy I'm with gets out of the car chasing to see if he's alright, and I pull the car up to the point where the boy went into the woods. I'm starting to get out of the car when my friend walks quickly back from the trail and just says, "Let's go now." We hop in the car and tear out of there. He says there is a graveyard about 10 yards into the woods where there are 5 gravestones with the same death date. They all had the same last name, and one was a boy who was 9. We never came back the rest of the summer to that road. We usually would go out once or twice a week. The next year, when my friend had graduated, I took my girlfriend out to the road. We had gone early to find different types of snakes. Different snakes tend to move at different points of dusk or night. We got to the house near the graveyard, and there's 3 men doing some yard work. I rolled down the window, explained what I was doing, and asked them about the graveyard. Apparently, their dad's brother's family had all died when their space heater caught fire around 20 years ago. I kept pushing and asking about it, and they told me the firemen, or whoever does it, had found all the bodies in the rubble except for the youngest son, but they assumed he was too far burnt. I asked if they had a little brother, and the 6'4" 250-pound man said he was the youngest. When I gave the description of the kid I saw, they all went white. They all have individually seen the kid I was talking about, and he always runs to the gravesite. I have never been down that road again. In middle school, my friend was in a church youth group, and they'd often have these overnights at the church that he would invite me to, and they were actually tons of fun. Towards the end of the night, the guy who ran it would let us play manhunt in the entire church area, place where actual mass was held, kitchen, rec hall, nursery, etc. We would turn every light off in the whole place, and all we had were tiny flashlights. It was spooky, but so much fun. One of these nights we were playing and we decided to hide in a closet in the nursery. We hid there for about 10 minutes and out of nowhere we heard a baby crying. We got spooked and got the hell out of there. In the morning we went back to the nursery to see what could have caused it. We figured it was one of those toy baby dolls that would cry, but we found nothing. Still spooks me to this day, but I would give anything to relive it because I love paranormal stuff. I grew up in a small town and lived out in the country. My mom and I were coming home from Walmart really late one night and decided to take the back way home. I still had my learner's permit, so I wanted to take a road with less traffic. Anyone who has ever lived or been to the country knows how creepy these roads can be at night. I was going around the curve right before a one-lane bridge, so I slowed down in case I had to stop. Out of nowhere, this woman jumps in front of me to the driver's side of my car and starts pounding on the hood of my car. Her mouth was moving, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. My mom started freaking out and told me not to stop and just keep driving. I kept going, and we both looked back to see where she was, and no one was there. To this day, my mom and I still remember it clearly. Turns out there is apparently a legend about a woman who died around the bridge and supposedly can be seen sometimes, late at night. I get goosebumps to this day, just thinking about it.